of All Time list. We were also recently dubbed Hall of Fame Tech Trendsetters by PC Magazine for our early adoption of the Sega Dreamcast, Sony mini disc formats, HD DVD, segues, and NFT art. Helio, you still have any of those NBA Top Shot NFTs that you were so excited about? Or
No, but I
did you
did get a
retire off those? Or
well, if by retire you mean later got a class action settlement payout for the money I spent on him, yes.
nice.
Otherwise, retire, the actual definition, not even close.
Okay. Well, look to us for the next big thing in the tech world. And thanks for listening. Please leave us a review, a rating, or find us on TikTok to see what we're listening to on a daily basis. And enjoy the show.
And of course, this episode is brought to you by NAMBLA. The North American Male Bandleader Association is excited to induct Julian Casablancas for his outstanding efforts in the field of grab ass, dick tapping, and other acts of brotherly bandmate love while fronting one of the seminal acts of the 21st century. Congrats, Julian, and keep reaching for that rainbow.
Yeah, big congrats to Julian Casablancas.
Those bastards are always trying to steal our name.
One, one, two, two, two. Jump two, jump two. Okay.
Okay, so it's been a bit since we spoke. Plenty of news has crossed the airwaves and the internet streams. One, of course, which has no jokes to it at all, or no possible way to go haywire, is that Morrissey has booked a New Year's Eve concert for New Year's Eve, the end of this year, for 2026 to go into 2027. So, assuming that's canceled, who would you want to have play a New Year's Eve concert? And is there maybe a song or two, like right as the moment strikes, that you would want to hear?
I'll let you go first.
Yeah. Okay. So, as usual, I chicken shitted out and couldn't settle on one answer.
Of course.
If a past artist is allowed, I came up with Prince, and I want to hear "Let's Go Crazy," and I looked at the timing of it. If you start "Let's Go Crazy," at least the album version, at 11:59, right at midnight, the 1 minute mark, it'll say, "If the elevator tries to bring you down, go crazy," and that's where the guitars come in.
I
So,
always
so
love when people post or note like, hey, if you start this at this time, this will happen like
exactly.
right as the new year. I've never done one. Like I've never
If you
seen any
start,
that
yeah,
that actually pushed me to do it, but I do appreciate, the thought and
totally.
like the idea that I could.
I mean, it appeals to a certain sixth sense of me of timing up those little things and yeah, finding those moments where like, oh yeah, at midnight, this is exactly when, you know, uh, the king of Rohan said, if it is to be our moment, then let it be
Yeah.
such an end, blah, blah, blah. If living, I don't know, I thought about, well, Oasis. Um, if they had started Champagne Supernova at 11:58, the guitar, like the heavy distorted guitars, come in right at the 2 minute mark. So that the ball drop right at midnight. Ah, Les Magnifiques.
Yeah, I think for my sub answers here, there's a lot of kind of like party atmosphere bands that like I've either seen or may have just imagined
Mm.
doing New Year's Eve shows. Like I know Fish does, if I'm not mixing it up
Oh yeah,
with the Halloween show. Yeah, stuff
famously,
like
yeah.
that. Just really any show like them or King Gizzard where like I can imagine, you stop down in the middle of the show for like 30 seconds for everybody to go, yeah, all right, count down and then do it. But like, afterwards you're still like partying and
Mm-hmm.
having a lot of fun and stuff like that. But for my official answer, I would say actually the inspiration for the segment, the for me, the perfect New Year's Eve show is the actual Morrissey New Year's Eve show. And let me explain. Yeah, you and I are both perhaps elder millennials. We're
I think so.
we're
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's the generation they call us. Eh, if people aren't real familiar with our generation out there, I know we've got a large cross section of ages of the listeners now, but we're pretty notorious for enjoying canceling plans and getting a lot of pleasure out of canceling plans. So, if I could run around and tell people like, somebody might invite me to a New Year's Eve party or something like that, and
I've got Morrissey. I
especially
would.
yeah,
But
yeah, exactly. Especially now as a 41-year-old person with a child, most of my New Year's Eves, have just been hanging out with him and his mom and all of us together watching fireworks on TV and then being like,
totally.
all right, you're up way too late. But yeah, if I could run around and tell, if anybody was inviting me to parties or trying to get me to go out, if I could run around and go like, I've got these Morrissey tickets, I'm so sorry. And then inevitably Morrissey is going to notch.
The hotel would be
not
too loud and you couldn't perform, or the
No,
microphones didn't
he's gonna
arrive, or
cancel,
yeah.
and I can stay home and I can tell everybody, oh, I was gonna go see Morrissey.
I didn't even see the news that he canceled till I got
No,
there. I
yeah,
would have come to your
no.
party,
I was going, but it turned out I had to go back home and fall asleep at 12:03.
see, it's interesting. There was a couple days after I proposed this question where I had Morrissey as my pick too for 3 straight days, and I was thinking, like, not that Morrissey needs a win, but if we ever wanted to get Morrissey a win, the idea of him performing one song, come on at like 11:59, finish by 12:02, Morrissey, you could say for the first time in like a decade or two, he's toured in 2 consecutive years.
There
So,
you go.
like, what a feather in his cap that would be.
Yeah, chalk it up.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So yeah, there you go. I love it.
it'd put a kink in my plans, but for
right. I
him,
mean,
I
yeah,
can see, yeah, that's a win.
yeah. I mean, that's
Two
that's Axl
consecutive.
Rose going on stage time right there. 11 o'clock at night. So all right. Well, actually, that's a very well thought out answer, sir. I'm gonna have to use that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to Belgium to see Morrissey. I can't make it down there,
Yeah,
Dad. Sorry.
I have doing the I have air quotes plans.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Exactly. All right. Well, what do you think? Should we get into it?
Let's hit the real episode.
And some of this list is kind of absurd. And Patti Smith, she used the N-word. And it's a podcast and you will love it. It's the Indy 500.
All right. Well, welcome. Now that you've gotten our silly Morrissey moments out of the way, we are covering number 290 on the Enemy's Top 500 of All Times album list, which is an album I think pretty new to both of us, if I'm not mistaken. The Blue Tones,
Yeah,
Expecting to
I had
Fly.
not heard of this before. No.
Yeah. Kind of the elevator pitch real quick would be that it's the album that knocked Oasis What's the Story Morning Glory out of the number one spot.
Yeah, basically,
In the
anytime
UK
this
charts, at
album or
least.
band is mentioned, they are mentioned along with the fun fact that this is the album that took What's the Story Morning Glory off the top spot. Although I think in at least one place I read that it was like only temporary, and they may have taken back the top spot from this, but
That
yeah,
wouldn't
this is
surprise me. Yeah.
after however long in the UK they stayed on the top of the charts with that album. This is the one that finally ended it.
Yeah. And I mean,
Ended the streak anyway.
obviously we'll get into it as we go, but I mean, a good album. I guess something had to eventually take over from Oasis for number one, but I don't think it's a life changer. But yeah, again, we'll talk about that more later.
Yeah. So I've got the
Oh,
honor.
yeah.
Oh.
I think you're manning the grill. Do you want to do a little word burger for us?
Yeah.
History man, a word burger, please.
So I'm the history man this week. I'm giving a bit of artist history from prior to the album, and this band is kind of the quintessential kind of UK 90s, like how a band comes together. Like this is the Blue Tones are the blueprint of of what was happening back then.
The blue collar blueprint.
Yeah, but we'll start a little further back. So, Mark Morris and his brother Scott form the nucleus of the Blue Tones. Even before there was a Blue Tones, they both had a relatively rough upbringing. Their mother had Mark at 16. Scott was next, and then after that, she had one more boy and two more girls. The brother's father was in and out of jail, most notably because he once attempted to drive an entire truck full of marijuana through customs.
I mean, that's admirable. Yeah.
Yeah, I I wish I had more info about that because how do you do that in the UK? Like somebody must have flown it in and then you're driving it out of an
Yeah.
airport or something.
Right. I mean, instantly it just reminds me of the whole, Ren and Cheech and Chong when they're driving the van across the border made of it and it catches on fire and everybody starts, getting high off it. But I digress.
Yeah, yeah. So here's a, and Mark talked about that via Melody Maker. He said, "quote I suppose part of me is quite proud of my father for having a go. If he had gotten away with that, he would have been handsomely rewarded, and it takes some balls to try." Scott says that Scott says that Mark would often end up in fights in school protecting him. Mark says he wouldn't often win those fights, but he would quote never say no to them. So if somebody messed with either one of them, they would have to already be committed to the fight. And Mark says that strategy may have saved them from the worst of their troubles at school. A little bit of a mini like Doctor Strangelove. What is it? The Madman Protocol. I don't think that's I don't think that's the real one, but you know what I'm talking about. Like the mutually assured destruction. Like if you're gonna start a fight with either Mark or Scott Morris, there's going to be a fight. Like
Right. It's the deterrent. Yes.
yeah. So prior to the Blue Tones, Mark and Scott were in a band called Bottle Garden, and it is nigh impossible to figure out if Bottle Garden was the original name of the Blue Tones or if it was a different band. I think Mark considers it a different band, but there's not a lot of info out there on Bottle Garden to like figure out like what songs they were doing or what it was.
And for what it's
But
worth,
so
Mark,
it's
we reached out on multiple social media platforms. So if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you are, feel free to
yeah
write us
we
back.
gave
Let
you
us
the
know.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you had seen, but interestingly, they have a so they've been out of commission. They've been retired since I want to say like 2011 or 2013, and they have a new album coming out next month.
Oh wow.
So interesting that we had pulled this album, and maybe interesting, but possibly less interesting. But no, yeah, Mark didn't want to come on a podcast to talk about Expecting to Fly and maybe
Free
mention, hey,
publicity. Yeah.
there's an album coming. Yeah, so Blue Tones, Bottle Garden, possibly a distinction without much of a difference. There is a let's see. There's an interview on YouTube with a guy named James Hargreaves, and Mark says him and his brother had moved into a shared housing situation when he was 17, and that is where they met the next member of the band, guitarist Adam Devlin, who was also staying there. And they said they convinced him to quit the quote crappy band that he was in and join up with them. And I think that's where the name the Blue Tones finally comes in. They stop. I think in that same interview, Mark says that they scrapped Bottle Garden and started the Blue Tones when they met up with Adam. So shortly after that, a few friends of the three of them suggested that they go see a drummer named Ed's Chesters, who is playing at a local club night. Mostly because Ed's was also a fan of the band Small Faces, which Mark and Scott were very big into. I feel like we've run into Small Faces before, but I can't quite put my thumb on where.
I am going to go to the portal of information and
There you go. If I had a guess, I would say possibly Aztec Camera was also inspired by Small Faces.
Yeah, that
That's
makes
my
sense because they're
that's my
a
poke.
60s English rock pop band from London. So that, yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah. So they played him a demo of the only song they had recorded at the time, and I did not find out which song that was. It's actually kind of tough to find info on, on
Actually,
this band in general.
I'm going to throw in, because why not? I'm going to throw in a little Small Faces fact for you. The drummer, Kenny Jones, was actually the drummer that replaced Keith Moon after Keith had passed for The Who on their
Oh, okay.
1980 tour. So, kind of kept moving up
I
in the
know
world.
I've heard the name Small Faces before, but I wasn't sure if it was just, off on my own adventures or if it was podcast related. But yeah, I know I've heard the
They
name at
seem to have a
least.
pretty substantial catalog.
Yeah. So back to regarding Ed's Chesters, the drummer. So Mark talks about him in a Melody Maker interview. He says, "quote We've got a lot of O and A levels between us. Ed's is really clever. He's going to invent something soon. He's trying to invent a mirror that doesn't steam up. I mean, you would buy that, wouldn't you?" He also says, quote, "He was really pissed off with that smokeless ashtray, I can tell you," Mark reveals. "He was talking about that when we first met him, and it got patented 4 years ago. He was so pissed off." And another quote, he says, "He's the most level-headed out of the four of us." This is Adam Devlin, the guitarist. It says, quote, "He's the anchor of the band. When we're all sitting around smoking joints watching TV, he's the one that says, 'So, shall we go and do some work then?' See, it's all starting to make sense. Ed's solid, dependable, comes from a solid, dependable family, whereas me and these boys, our families were a little wee bit broken homes. It's all there, man," says Mark. "It's all there in the grooves. You can hear it." So, a
Testifying.
little bit of a portrait of who's who.
I
here in
mean,
the
it
band.
sounds like Ed's is kind of taking up the Nigel Tufnell role of, absurd inventor, with the amp capo and the hingeless wine, or the foldable wine glass.
Yeah. So here's where kind of they are the they're kind of the classic story of a 90s British band, because they were all basically surviving on dole money, about £26 per week. Mark says that they were time rich and money poor, and that they they used their meager funds to basically subsist and spend time in the shared housing place to practice music, basically. And it was at this point that the band had moved. They go and they move out of the shared housing that they were in and into a room that had opened up in a house of a slightly more successful band called Dodgy. And I did not double check to see if you had got this clip, but there's a clip of Mark Morris talking about how they had come across that room.
Let's see. Is this the
We could
Heckler
always,
one?
yeah, we could always throw it
Yeah.
in and post if you. Oh, you got it.
I got you. Yeah.
That's what happened to us. Because like I say, I lived in a shared house with Adam and two other people, and then a room became available in Dodgy's house. I knew very well where they lived, and I knew very well which house it was, in fact, before I'd even been there.
Is that because, as Matt said, him and Nigel used to heckle you guys out the window?
Yeah.
What do you remember? I've got to ask about
I
that.
do remember this. I remember Scott and I used to walk across this kind of big green in front of where they lived at the time. And we'd have to walk across it to get to our grandparents' house. On a Sunday, Scott and I would go around there for dinner, you see. Very good boys. We were all done up to the nines in our flares and our big, Parker coats and whatnot. So we looked like straight out of Quadrophenia. And they looked like a bunch of hippies with their mustaches and their long hair and their paisley shirts and their faint smell of patchouli. They were hippies. There's no two ways about it. We'd walk across the green and they'd be going, "We are the mods, we are the mods." I can't remember, we'd sing back to them. It was some hippie song. I can't remember, but it was all good-natured, but we didn't know them at that point. And then when we met them, Dodgy turned out to be supporting the Grooveyard and kind of just blew them away, really. And I loved the Grooveyard. We watched Dodgy's set, and immediately they finished, went to the front of the stage and was like, "You guys are amazing. When are you playing again?" That conversation. And then they turned out that they're from Hounslow, and that's when we was like, "Oh, we know you guys. You're the guys that heckle us across the green."
So that's how they found their more permanent practice space. They moved into the same house that this band that had heckled them when they were walking across the lawn in their hometown of Houndsland or Hoonsland. I forget how he just said it there. But that clip was the YouTube interview with James Hargreaves, which is really probably the primary source for a lot of the actual like good stuff I found on this band.
Pretty
It's-
substantial segment, yeah.
yeah, it's tough to find info on them. There are a couple of interviews with Mark out there where he talks about it, but that was basically the only one that I had found where it was like in depth at all into their origins. But that garage in Dodgy's house is where they would work out most of the material they would end up creating Expecting to Fly. Which brings us to a patent.
Hello, I'm Hugh Mechanic. This just in, a meteor landed near a McDonald's. Here's eyewitness Louise Sanders.
Well, I had just ordered when all of a
What
sudden...
did you get?
Oh, a triple cheeseburger.
Oh, don't you love that first tasty bite?
But the meteor just...
Meteor? It sure is meteor. There's 3 all-beef patties in
But this
there.
is a big deal.
That it is. McDonald's triple cheeseburger is a big, beefy burger. Try it as an extra value meal. To recap, get the triple cheeseburger at McDonald's. Oh, some big rock fell out of the sky.
Starts Friday.
Oh, Mr. Hartman, you wonderful, wonderful man.
R.I.P. to one of the
Yeah.
greatest to ever do it.
Exactly. Too soon. Too soon. Well, now that we've had our commercial break here, the lovely people at McDonald's, of course, let's talk a little bit of news. Like I said at the top, we've kind of been away for a while. We've seen some things pop up. We've even, dare I say, we've seen some live music.
Yeah, we met IRL.
Yeah. Oh my God. I know. It was so wild. We saw Health and Carpenter Brute in Seattle, and that was pretty badass, actually.
Yeah. Was that the first kind of electronica tinge thing you've gone out to go see? Yeah.
I
That's a
mean,
pretty good
unless
one.
you count Ministry, which I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, like Ministry was on the bill with Rob Zombie and Alice Cooper, so I guess I wouldn't honestly. But no, that was definitely the first like electronic primary one I saw. It was a lot of fun. Definitely a different crowd than I'm used to, for sure.
Yeah, a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, I don't know why I was expecting I mean, I guess I'm a little too plugged into Health's online presence where they're a little more jokey and fun. So, I mean, I wasn't planning it, but I was proud that I had showed up wearing a like tan frog and toad sweater. I was kind of like, oh, this'll fit in. There'll be other people who are kind of
Totally.
but no, the crowd was pretty solid goth rock.
Yeah. I mean, we were waving the Six Dad flag pretty good, at the
Yeah.
end of the day,
Oh yeah.
in our attire and our. We did scope out a good spot though, right next to the soundboard. That was a good call. Watching the guys work all the machines too. That was fun.
Yeah, that was I can't remember other shows, but yeah, now that I think after going to many of them, I think that spot, like if you can get somewhere, well, I think we already put it out last episode, but I'm not a tall man, so like almost no matter where I'm standing in the venue, I'm not going to get a great view, but if I'm somewhere near the sound guys in the kind of middle back of the venue, I at least know that I'm going to get hit with like good sound.
Yes.
And yeah, that this was kind of the first time too that I had like a straight view onto somebody who was working the light show and the EQ or whatever else is going on. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, they're triggering something. I don't think it's anything
It's
substantial.
definitely like
you
all
know,
the stage value stuff.
musical.
Yeah.
Yeah. At least for yeah. On one side, it was definitely a console that was controlling a lot of the lighting, but then there was other stuff going on too, and I thought that was fun to see along with the show.
Yeah.
Both Carpenter Brute and Health have excellent lighting shows for that level of band. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think both those groups, I mean, probably would rise to the occasion in a larger venue, but the place we saw them was perfect for the sound, perfect for like what they're trying to do in terms of the scope of the show, and it was big and could get everybody into it. Carpenter Brute closing with Maniac, that
Yeah,
was
cover
that was pretty
cover of me.
awesome.
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Health doing their shoegaze electronica thing was just awesome the whole way through, and no complaints on that one.
Yeah, they're both pretty they're both pretty dialed in. I like that. I like that show a lot, and would love to get out to see more electronic stuff.
Definitely. No, I'm definitely more and more open to it after that one. Like, I don't know if I'm going to go quite, Paul Oakenfold type stuff yet, but it's only a couple more degrees away, so you never know.
Yeah, I don't know how or where to keep an eye on it, but once every like 2 or 3 months, there is like a rave that happens at the there's like old here. Okay, heads up for the Nazis attempting to dox me one more time. Here you go. Clue number 200. There's a group of disused hangars pretty close to where I live, and once every 2 or 3 months, like a rave or something goes down there. So maybe I will attempt to figure out where those are posted, and maybe we could try and check that out.
I'm there. I mean, hey, if nothing else, let's get Professor Martin James in on it and see if he can bring in some of those, convoy rave tools, that he had back in the day. And
I mean,
we'll
I
crack
only
the
hear
case.
it. It sounds like, I mean, it is definitely electronic music going down. But yeah, no, I don't know. I'll try and figure out who puts that on or who promotes it and when it's going to happen again.
Totally. I mean, we'll go there, listen to some tunes, and be designated drivers for a bunch of, silly kids.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah.
give back to the community.
So another thing that was going on during our hiatus there, Coachella came and went. Was there anything that caught your eyes or ears at Coachella?
Yeah, I mean, I guess a couple things. Billy Corgan with this somber group.
Yeah, I had not heard of Somber, but now
Yeah,
I'm seeing like posters and stuff, and I saw him with Billy, and I'm like, or he did a cover of a Radiohead song too, and I'm like, okay,
right.
a man perhaps after our 40-year-old hearts.
Right. It gives me conflicting feelings because for all this like Geese is a psyop, band type thing, you see something like Somber performing with Billy Corgan, and then 2 days later it's Somber's touring. Somber's playing all these big venues. Who the fuck is Somber?
It's Gabbo,
But
Gabbo.
yeah, exactly. So all of a sudden they manufacture this moment, so to speak, and then
Sombro is coming.
yeah, exactly. Look, Smithers, Santana is coming. But no, it's like I don't know. I guess you got to have the movie trailer before you release the movie anyway. So
Yeah.
there's always a way to announce it. But it just seems a little like strange sometimes to me how they do that. And then the
Yeah.
Strokes have the headlining weekend and they announce the tour, and like I get it, it's a good opportunity, just like the Super Bowl. Hey, you have everybody's eyes on you. Okay, now that everybody's watching, let's sell some tickets. It's you can't beat the advertising, but I don't know. I guess that's a cynical way to look at it. But there was something much better. 9 Inch Noise. What'd you think?
Yeah, I did get to watch basically all of that. Speaking of this thing kind of being an opportunity to kind of strike when the iron is hot, like having that show and then having, your album come out, what was it, like the day in between the live and like
was like
their second day or whatever.
yeah, it was like 6 days after the first set, 1 day or two
The
before the
the second
second
week
set.
or something
Yeah.
like that. Like yeah, that was another excellent use of of the attention on you, especially because everybody had high praise for the stage show and stuff like that. And yeah, I thought that was a really cool way to package Nine Inch Nails, and it kind of feels like the evolution of where Trent was taking Nine Inch Nails. Like I don't like, you know, turning Nine Inch Nails into something that was like basically him and Atticus Ross, and then okay, but what are you gonna do when you tour Nine Inch Nails? Like, are you gonna hire a band again?
Right.
Something that famously, it seems like Trent was not super into.
Yeah.
We've retold the story of the guy from Filter on here, talking about his time being a guitarist for Trent, and how undervalued he was, basically.
It sounds like a great gig if you shut the fuck up. Yeah.
Yeah. So now Trent's like, well, what can we do? Let's get Boys Noise out here with Atticus
Remixes.
Ross and me and my wife. Why not?
Yep, exactly. And I thought
That's not hard
that was
to put
pretty
together.
Cool. I think because of how loved Nine Inch Nails was, that Angels and Airwaves project didn't get enough love because it wasn't Downward Spiral, it wasn't The Fragile, and like I'm guilty of it as anybody, but like hearing those songs now in retrospect, like it's pretty cool music. And even like the version they did live on there is like, okay, yeah, this is good. This belongs in the canon.
Yeah, that seems to
there's
be
definitely so many
the march of
ideas.
history for projects that aren't like immediately bad, like So yeah,
Like after Year Zero and With Teeth, there was just so much material that came out, but none of it was like pushed or radio singles. So
I
it's
was
kinda like
even
all this stuff now
even
is
going
getting
to say Year Zero and With Teeth are kind of the ones that, those are like, even beyond Nine Inch Nails, like those are albums that I think of where when they first came out, I was like, I'm not super happy with this. And then
Totally.
like time marches on and you look back and you listen to them one more time, you're like, actually, this is really good.
right. I mean, yeah, exactly. Were they Downward Spiral? No, but
Yeah.
a few things are. Did they have their hit songs that were awesome in the moment? Yeah, and they've aged a little bit better. And yeah, I think kind of giving it new context and the Boys Noise handle on some of it really breathed some new life into it.
Yeah.
I think I said this to you, but if I was going to lodge a complaint, it's that the quote unquote album that they dropped was
Basically the live show.
the live show. And like,
Yeah.
that was cool. And I'm glad we have that to listen to. But at the same time, I misunderstood perhaps and thought it was like original material between the two people or the two artists, but it was just a recording. But again, like, great to have it. It got my hopes up a little bit.
Yeah. But the live show is is very excellent. But yeah, it would have been nice to have two things, but if I only get one excellent thing, like that's okay. I'm okay with that.
I mean, was it as good as Sabrina Carpenter's show? Probably not. But what is?
Who did she arrest this time? Did you get a did we get an update on that?
I don't. I feel like
Maybe
didn't she do a number with Madonna?
Okay, yeah. I know she brought Madonna up.
Yeah, I don't know if she arrested anybody, but I think she called ICE on some suspicious looking folks in the audience, so perhaps.
Yeah. And finally, something we talked about kind of extensively last time it came through, but the Rock Hall of Fame voting and inductions came and went as well. I kind of remember there was one, you had sent me like one like rolling update of like the audience voting or something like that was going in, and I was like, oh, this is a mess. Like,
Yeah. It's not going
I
well.
think we talked about them last time. We talked about the we did the speed run of people who were in there
Yes or no's, yeah.
last time on the episode. And I think basically every person I was like, no way. Like every one of those was like a front runner
Right.
in audience voting. But I guess the committee or whatever balanced things out because the actual list of people who got in seemed correct. Do you have that list? I know we've
I
got like a
do.
couple.
It's a pretty extensive list. Looking back at it, I mean, I just kind of jotted down a couple names in our show notes, but I pulled it up and yeah, from top of the list down, Phil Collins, Billy Idol, Iron Maiden. This one I have some beef with, Joy Division / New Order, Oasis, Sade, Luther Vandross, Wu-Tang Clan, Celia Cruz, Fela Kuti, Queen Latifah, MC Light, Graham Parsons,
Hey.
getting that Indy 500 bump, Linda Creed, Arif Mardin, Jimmy Miller, Rick Rubin, and Ed Sullivan.
Really good show.
Really good show tonight. Really big. So I guess to go back, my beef with the Joy Division New Order thing is like, you're not inducting Nirvana / the Foo Fighters. Like, let them both be in on their own merits. Just because the guy died doesn't mean you have to like lump everything together that all the people did. I don't. I mean, I don't know if there's precedent in the Rock Hall where there's other bands combined like that, but they're two completely different sounding, differently comprised entities. So it's kind of
Yeah,
I don't know.
I see it and I don't see it. Yeah, I think I'm with you. That it's
Like if
kind
it
of like,
was
if somebody else had done this already, like, yeah,
Yeah.
where's the precedent? What's going on here?
Right. I mean, if you're saying like, oh, Journey's in, well, yeah, Journey got a singer that sounded exactly like Steve Perry, and they kept going. So like, there's not really a difference in the band, you know.
Yeah,
They
if they
didn't
had
have to call
changed their
themselves
name
right. Exactly. So yeah, I don't know.
and had new songs, yeah, I
Right.
get
So
it.
I don't know. That it's a small bone to pick, but still though, overall, you know, some cool acts on there. Maiden's
Yeah,
not going to be there.
I won't complain because Oasis, Iron Maiden, Wu-Tang, and my personal flag fly there, Sade got in. So I really can't say anything bad about this year.
Yeah, I mean, I just hope that, you know, Graham Parsons' casket is stolen and delivered onto the stage, you know, at some point.
Yeah,
As a
they
fucking
can.
tribute.
They could have brought Billy Idol in a flaming coffin.
There you go.
got a two for one or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
amazing.
glad. Billy Idol, I believe, was on his second year, so I'm glad he got into.
And yeah, I mean, it's just kind of a cool year to see variety too. You know, Wu Tang, there's nothing necessarily rock and roll about them, but that's cool for the, you know, the museum itself as time goes on. And rock really is, you know, kind of the pop music, you know, of the last couple decades. Like, okay, you're going to honor that. It's not just a bunch of guitar, bass, drums, and vocals. That's the only way you get in. This is all music we're accepting of here. And I like that.
Yeah, me too.
Cool.
Rock
I
is-
guess, yeah, the
rock is a
last
state of
thing.
mind or an attitude.
Totally. I mean, it's just as punk as anything else. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know, rap is the new punk music for skateboarders, as far as I can tell. So,
True.
yeah, why not honor it? I guess the last thing we didn't really touch on too much. Last time we were here, though, we did talk about the Strokes and Is This It? Strokes, you know, made some big headlines, some good performances at Coachella. Julian definitely expressing his pro-Zionist views on those subway interviews.
I believe
Is
it was
this-
anti. I believe it was. Let's not get Julian
Oh.
Casablancas mad at us.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I guess we already started the show off with Nambla honoring him, so I guess you're right. We shouldn't bury too much on him.
Yeah,
I don't know.
and yeah, we're never. Good thing we've already done that because we're never getting him on the show.
No, we're not at this point. I don't know. Are you excited for kind of their resurgence? Do you think it's 25 years now since?
I
Is It
do
It,
think
you know?
that new song sounded pretty good. I'm among the people who are not thrilled about Julian being so married to his vocoder, but whatever.
Yeah,
he can do what he can do what he wants. But the song is good. I'm excited for the album. I am not super excited about people announcing new albums and then making us wait 90 days or whatever it is. I
But
think
you
it's
can
I think
pre-save
it's
it on
even longer.
Spotify a decade in advance.
Yeah, I think it's even longer than that. Like I don't like that.
Yeah, it's definitely out a bit. I want to say
I
it's
mean,
like late June.
it kind of goes I don't know, it sort of goes against the spirit of the podcast because we're so into, the making of and the recording and the background stuff, but at the same time, like, new albums, I want to hear about them like 2 weeks before they're
Right, right. I mean, like, yes,
it's
there
not
are
like they're giving
bands.
out other than like Daft Punk with Random Access Memories. Like I can't remember the last time we had like an album that came along with its like making of material. So,
Right.
you know,
Yeah,
if you're
totally
not going to
true.
give me that, then just go ahead and tell me like, yeah, 2 weeks max.
I don't know why I thought of this just now, but like, wouldn't an album with like an artist commentary be kind of fun? Like as an option?
Yes. Yeah, we would. I mean, yeah, obviously I would be super into that.
I was kind of pining for
Um,
like director's commentaries the other day. We were
I
talking
know
about like
there is
the
a,
Fight
I
Club
know there's,
reissue, and it's like talk about
mhm.
great insights.
I know there's another podcast out there that I've listened to one or two episodes of called Song Exploder, where
Mm.
they do a sort of, something like that. Artists talk about like, the making of and particular, particular production things and stuff like that. Yeah, so maybe that's what we're looking for.
Okay, yeah, that's not a bad idea. Yeah, I mean, if there's just a way with those digital formats, like add on
Yeah,
add on
why
the
not?
translation, add on the artist commentary or the Rick Rubin commentary or whatever the case may be. Just to get some insights would be kind of fun. But I guess that's why they leave it to folks like us to
Yep.
get the
This
hard-hitting
is
information.
I guess that's our lane. We're not trying to put ourselves out of business here.
Totally, totally, exactly. All right. Well, I think we should probably get back in time to what is that? February 12th, 1996, and this is when the
What a
Blue Tones
time.
"Expecting to Fly" dropped. So let's hop on real quick and go back in time. Let's see if we can do it. Yep, 2002, 1999, and we're here.
We watched 9/11 in reverse.
Oh gosh, ooh, wow, that was kind of cool actually.
The
Yeah,
towers went up and spit a plane out. That was pretty neat.
right. Weird, huh? Anyway, we are on February 12th, 1996, the date that the Blue Tones "Expecting to Fly" was launched and dethroned Oasis's "What's the Story Morning Glory." But here in this segment, we talk about what was going on in the rest of the world. So February 10th, kind of an interesting foretelling of things to come in the computer world. Deep Blue defeated Garry Kasparov at chess, thus beginning the fall of mankind as the apex predator on Earth. Or maybe not, depends on whoever you ask. If you asked some of the blue sky AI experts, probably not. If you ask, some conspiracy theorists, yep, here we go. February
Yeah,
12th.
I remember that being a big deal.
Yeah.
And then I don't remember how many years later. I think it was in the aughts, but then like later, Deep Blue went on Jeopardy,
Oh,
and I
yes,
think I
yes.
think it kicked ass there too.
Hmm.
So computers not so bad at chess and trivia. Imagine that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess cheaters. So on the day of release, February 12th, President Clinton signed a bill legalizing the V chip, a little add-on device for TVs that allow parents to control what their kids could and couldn't watch at the time and monitor
That's
for language, sexual situations, to shock Eric Cartman when he mouths off.
I don't know if you ever I don't know if you ever saw it at my house, but my parents had like my parents had like a prototype version of the V chip. I forget what it was called, but basically ours was like a little box that would it would use the closed captioning
Oh,
as its like input, and anytime that it ran across a banned word, it would try to time up a like a mute like a like a mute along with the closed captioning
Interesting.
portion coming up with whatever bad word it was. I don't know if you ever experienced that over at our house, but
I don't know if I did.
it was
I mean,
actually somewhat effective. Like it would always be funny when the CC was like slightly off and it would mute and then it would come back and somebody would say shit.
yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
That's-
We'd all have a good laugh, but like, yeah, I don't know.
It blanked out the what the part, but it left in shit. Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. My parents really tried for a bit there, at least with me.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up in the era too of the bad language overdubs. Yippee-ki-yay, Mr. Falco, and all the other. This is what happens when you find a stranger in the Alps, of course. So I mean,
Hat tip Phoebe Bridgers, I believe it was.
yeah, exactly. If I as a dad now, I guess I suppose just blank it out instead of trying to make it sound like something it isn't, because I'm gonna have to explain what the hell they're talking about. I can't keep a straight face for that.
Yeah, no. I don't know what we did, but my son is completely averse to saying bad words, and we've never punished him for it. We don't. I mean, we don't. We try not to say them, and we let him know that they're bad words and you shouldn't say them. But we're also video gamers, and just human. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, we're letting them fly when we do.
Sure.
But for some reason, he is just. It's as if he grew up in a household where like he got like punished for it or something. Because like every once in a while, like even once in a while, I'm pushing him. I'll be in the car and I'll be like, I'm gonna say a bad word, and he's like, no, don't. And I'm like,
My
or
daughter
I'll
was
ask,
like that for a while, actually.
yeah,
Too.
I'll like teasingly ask him like, what did that person say? Like, what was that word? And he's like, I'm not gonna say it. So
Oh.
I don't know. I wish I could tell everybody what I did, or
Yeah, I mean,
sometimes it's just part of your personality, I guess.
I think that's it, because like my son has, well, a terrible mouth, and my daughter is afraid to say anything. And even when we went to wrestling a few weeks back, and there was the occasional language bomb, she just kind of look at me with the I'd show her it's okay to laugh and just kind of, but at the same time she's like, oh my god, they said that. What?
Yeah.
You can't say that. Yeah, they can say that.
I guess there's no
fighting.
I guess there's no explaining it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
that was V-Chip Corner on the
Yeah.
Indie 500 podcast.
Censor me now, brought to you by the V-Chip. So anyway, back to music. The number one song in the United States at the time was One Sweet Day by Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. Let's play a little clip of that jewel there.
Yeah, there was no getting around this one.
No.
So I guess the modern equivalent of that may be the closing track from Mayhem, which was Lady Gaga and Bruno Mars together. Maybe, I don't know. Is there anything else that jumps out at you then?
God, I haven't seen the movie, so I can't remember the title. But the one with Bradley Cooper and Lady Gaga.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Star is Born.
Yes, there you go. Bingo. The number one song in the UK, and this is actually a new one to me, or at least haven't heard in 30 years that new, was Spaceman by an artist named Babylon Zoo. Are you familiar with that one?
I don't think I am, but let's see.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it's not
Had a little
bad.
bit. It kind of reminded me of Placebo a little bit. And
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I listened to the whole thing. It wasn't a
it's
bad
not the Blue
song.
Tones.
Right, right, exactly. It's just it seems like it's a very well, much like we talked about the mid '90s before. It's a very weird time in music, and just a lot of one-offs, a lot of like different genres fighting over the top spots, and in the UK, I guess really no different.
Uh, yeah, I mean, in addition to being no different, it's also kind of, I mean, it's part of the bedrock of this podcast, but like that combined with the fact that, the UK is relatively not a, big place. So, I mean, you can sometimes go off with something like Spaceman by Babylon Zoo, or what's our favorite, the the Doodly Doo, or the it's
Dupe?
allow me to just enjoy like 5 seconds of not remembering what that song's name is, and then you can say it. Okay, let me get a little Jack from Lost count to five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, Wreck My Life.
It was Dupe, wasn't it?
Yeah, there you go. Okay, it was. I
Yeah.
really did honestly, with that big, we had a bit of a hiatus. I honestly forgot what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, now I've got it again. So,
But the thing is, like, the soundboard never forgets. So here to remind you.
hit me. Oh, it's a Spaceman Duke remix apparently. This is kind of hitting. Maybe that's all.
right?
Maybe that's all Dupe really needed was a little Spaceman back.
Just some pseudo shoegaze,
Yeah.
Britpop vocals. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
I think we nailed it there. All right. So moving on.
we're onto something.
We are. I don't know if it's something good, but it's something. Moving on to the movie industry. So at the time, February, kind of a notoriously slow time for movies. The number one movie worldwide was Broken Arrow, story with John Travolta, Christian Slater. I believe Travolta has a military role that goes mad, steals a B-2 bomber with some nukes on it. Christian Slater's job to track him down. Is that
Yeah,
pulled
I
in
think-
46
It was like the
million?
original floating of Travolta. Like, I feel like he really, really wanted to be a bad guy for like a really long time there, and that was like this, Battlefield Earth, and
Face Off.
Face
Yeah.
Off. Yes, like he really tried.
Totally. Well, and I pulled the top 30 just because.
Yeah,
like,
I'm
looking at this.
real. There's some stuff on here that I would love to talk about, but maybe
Yeah,
we can just drive by.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'll just shoot down the list, and like Mr. Holland's Opus. It's a good movie. I wouldn't say it's like an all-time favorite. Black Sheep, Muppet Treasure Island,
That'd be one.
Happy
Yes.
Gilmore, Leaving Las Vegas,
Mm-hmm.
Rumble in the Bronx, the Jackie Chan movie,
Classic.
12 Monkeys,
My God.
the Kevin Costner cinematic opus, The Postman,
Yeah,
Babe, Grumpier Old Men,
crazy.
From Dusk Till Dawn,
Oh my
Waiting
God.
to Exhale, Jumanji, Toy Story, Heat, Ace Ventura: When Nature Calls, and in 30th place this week, Braveheart.
You you said like February is supposed to be like a dumping ground, and this.
Right. This is kind of like the convergence zone of like all the holiday releases, all the post-Oscar hype type things going on, and
Yeah.
I mean,
90
obviously we're
96
biased.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
this like 96, I mean, we're talking about One Sweet Day by like Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, the same sort of thing. Like 96 is kind of the height of when it was kind of the last gasp of when you could like make them, like people were making a mint off of, people actually buying media. Like we're just around the corner from Napster. We're about to upend the idea of what a blockbuster movie is once we get into, we hit the Matrix, and then after that, we start getting into franchises and comic
We're
book
still
movies and things like
pre-Netflix,
that.
even that that primordial version of like getting the DVD through the mail. So like
Yeah.
if you wanted to watch these at home again, either you had HBO or you bought it, like
Yeah.
you know, a
And
physical
you
copy.
also have the other interesting is you also have the I think it may be like the weekly gross on these, and then also maybe I think the next number is the total. And a
Yes.
lot of these movies, like Broken Arrow's number one, it's making like okay 70 million, and I bet you that was like that was like a huge number for 96, I'm sure.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah, Mr. Holland's Opus is 82, and then like the next like 20 movies or something like that are hovering somewhere around like 30 to 50 million.
Right.
And I'm sure
Like
everybody
there's
is
not a movie
just
on here that I would think like lost money.
yeah, and I'm sure everybody was like, this is the time where everybody's like, oh great, our movie made $40 million, like, and so did like 30 other people in the month, in the
Right.
month of February, and now it's like, yeah, if your movie doesn't make $1 billion, you're gonna make. I mean, you're probably once again going to make $40 million, but everybody's going to be like, "Oh, $40 million!
Ooh, yeah.
Somebody's going to be committing seppuku over it,
Right. Yeah, it
over
costs you
Warner Brothers."
260 million to make, so yeah.
Yeah,
Better get on that.
yeah. So I don't know. I wish we could return to a time where you were allowed to make a mid-budget to cheap movie and have it do okay, and everybody's happy about it.
Well, and I think the fun thing of this era too was like you could roll up to, one of the megaplex movie theaters with 12 screens and like legitimately, depending on your taste, you'd want to see 60% of them. So like even if, the one you wanted to see was sold out or you missed it, like hey, there's something else there still.
Yeah, I
Me
only think I
personally
did it.
now, it's kind of like, oh, is there one thing I want to see? Eh.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think I only did it once or twice, but this would be prime theater hopping era. Where you go see
100%.
yeah, you go see one thing, you pretend like you're leaving, but you dip into another theater and you watch like the last 40% of grumpier old men.
Totally. Well, I know my family, my mom and sister and I, on those occasional summer days in the Northwest where it was like 90 or 100 degrees, it was like, well, we can either buy a portable
Yeah,
air conditioner that sucks, or we can spend $40 and watch 3 movies and have lunch, in the movie theater from
yeah.
like, 11 to 6. So let's do that instead. It was a fun time. But moving on from the movie world that we are so fond of, onto sports a little bit here. February 11th, the NBA All-Star Game featured Michael Jordan in his first All-Star Game back post-retirement, and he was named the MVP with 20 points. Retirement to go play baseball because possibly he was caught gambling by the commissioner and asked to walk away, and then they let him come back because he's Michael Jordan, and the sport needed him.
Yeah, it's funny that that whole concept came up a few times while people were talking about the recent troubles that Mike Vrabel was getting in. Like, I was listening to some football podcast where they were talking about that, and they were like, maybe instead of half measuring this, like maybe he should pull a Jordan and just be away indefinitely.
Yeah, you don't think missing day 3 of the draft was sufficient enough,
I
a way to admit that he made a mistake?
I thought you nailed that perfectly. Where I think I texted you and said, "Hey, Mike Vrabel, who is having personal troubles on a public stage, is going to yeah, his contrition is going to be he's missing day 3 of the draft." And you said, along with the rest of us. Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Who gives a
it's
shit?
like, oh,
Give me the
you're
cliff
this
notes. Yeah,
yeah, this is like being punished by um missing your godfather's destination wedding or something like that.
right. Oh, geez, I can't stay at the
Shoot.
the recital to watch all the other kids. Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh man. Speaking of things I wouldn't want to miss, though, this pay-per-view event, WCW Super Bowl 4, the headlining match featured Ric Flair defeating Big Van Vader in a cage match for the title. But I think looking at the names on this other match on here really caught me off guard. It was a tag team trios match. One side was Sting, Brian Pillman, and Dustin Rhodes, aka Goldust, against Steve Austin, pre Stone Cold Steve Austin, Rick Rude, and Paul Orndorff. Like, that's some names right there. That's some star power. Yeah.
Yeah, WCW had it going on for a while there.
Yeah, definitely. And, for those of us, if we haven't made it clear, I'm definitely a wrestling fan, and I know my co-host enjoys it as well, especially when we get to talk about some of these throwback things. And yeah, that was a good event. I have to watch that one again. For the best TV ratings at the time, this is kind of a no contest. Just put the fucking TV on NBC and you'll find it. ER, Seinfeld, Friends, Frasier, I don't know, even Mad About You, some of those shows were on. They pretty much ran the roost until, the late 90s when CBS took over with the crime shows and Survivor. I mean, so NBC's world, we were just living in it. February 11th, also in 1996, I should say, a time that The Simpsons were still palatable to most of us. That day introduced the world to a lovable fisherman by the name of Rory B. Bellows and Dancing Pete, as the episode titled Bart the Fink debuted, in which Bart accidentally gets Krusty in tax trouble, so Krusty the Clown fakes his own death. That was a good one.
I do remember that. Is that the one where Krusty does the thing where he puts his hair behind his head and he becomes like a fisherman?
Rory B. Bellows. Yeah, exactly.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. And then, Dancing Pete, and they throw him the nickel. Arr, he'll be dancing for hours. All right. But, in less serious news, across the pond in the UK, the IRA ceasefire came to an end when a bomb was detonated by the IRA in London's Docklands, ending a 17-month ceasefire. Also in the UK at the time, the first genetically modified food products went on sale on February 5th. And we're sorry that happened. Tony Blair and the New Labour Party continued to look like shiny new saviors as the current government is exposed in the Scott inquiry for selling arms to the Iraqis throughout the 80s. I couldn't imagine a first world wealthy country selling weapons to... Anyway, moving on. February 1996 also saw the start of an intellectual property that still haunts and gives us joy to this day. Our children, and likely our children's children, will come to love it. That, of course, being the debut of Pokemon Red and Green. The game sold over 1 million units for Game Boys and they haven't slowed down since, really.
I literally went to a Pokemon-themed child's birthday party this weekend, so no, there's no sign of it slowing.
Yeah, 30 years later, quite literally.
Yeah, and one of the things they did was a Pokemon scavenger hunt where they had posted pictures of pretty there weren't many deep cuts on there, but it was a page of 30 Pokemon. So, there's some on there that maybe I don't remember the name of or something like that. But every single kid there seemed to know, hey, there's Rashomon and
there's Kirasalamon. Yeah.
Pluto Butt.
there's Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah. I would be there better be a Pokemon named Bobcat Goldthwait.
I mean, if not, we'll be on my son's game pretty soon.
There's Rick Rude and
there's Paul Orndorff. Oh, Sting, you got a Sting. Catch him. Yeah.
I got it. Yeah. I heard I heard somebody at the convention this weekend pulled a gold foil Paul Heyman.
Ooh, there you go. Yeah. I mean, that's you gotta catch that one for sure.
Yeah. There you go.
Well, yeah. My son's been playing that Copia game online with a school friend, and just hearing them it's kind of inspiring and it's still just kind of cute. I mean, we're kind of geeking out with our Magic the Gathering online game, calling off all the cards, and here he is oh, you just found this guy. He's this type of Pokemon, and he attacks this, and oh yeah, and I just tell him Chimpokemon is pretty Chimpokorific, and he has no idea what I'm talking about yet. But also another game he would not know what I'm talking about. He better not, because if he knows about this game, I'm gonna whoop his ass. Duke Nukem 3D dropped on January 29th of 1996, so just 2 weeks prior, introducing
I'm here to kick ass and chew bubble
introducing a
gum.
young Helio Novell to the idea of
ball of
pixelated
gum.
boobies and
Yep.
aliens and strippers. But I don't know. Did you ever play that game?
What a time to be alive.
Right?
I feel like I've told the Duke Nukem 3D story of us on pod before. Do you remember if I have or I have not?
I don't think so.
Well, everybody, you're gonna get it one more time if we haven't. And you know, I don't think everybody listens to every episode, so I think we're allowed.
More so,
But
they hopefully don't remember every word of every episode.
No.
Then I'd be worried.
Again, if you do, seek help.
Seek help.
And we're sorry. But yeah, the
Send us the
prevailing
bill.
whenever Duke Nukem 3D comes up, I will always remember basically me, you, and one other friend spent like, I want to say at least one day setting up the ability to play Duke Nukem 3D online. At the time when we were using dial-up modems, and like not even like 56K. We had like 14.4s, I think, everybody between us. And you would have to tie up a phone line. You would have to be getting into like your DOS code and stuff like that, and trying to
Figuring out
trying
your
to figure
IPs and your ports and your
Yep, yeah, all that stuff. It was not easy, but we spent at least a day and a half figuring out how to get 3 of us all online at once to play Duke Nukem 3D and shoot at each other, and we finally did, and we were so excited. And then after about 30 minutes, the excitement wore off because I was like wrecking everybody. Because just down the street, somebody's uncle was pretty, famous down our street for having like a LAN set up and like 4 or 5 computers in one of his rooms, and like me and his like little cousins would always be over there playing, mostly like Doom 2, but he did also set up Duke Nukem 3D when it
same
came out.
idea. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure the whole idea probably came from me telling you guys about like, oh, this game is so badass and so much fun to play online.
Yeah.
Like, we got to do this, and we finally did. And then yeah, like I didn't realize that I didn't realize that there was going to be a bit of an unfair advantage from having played it a lot before that.
So it goes. How are we going to get better if we don't face the best at the end of the day? Now,
Yeah.
granted, I wouldn't say those words at that age, but now that's what I'd say to my son now if he gets his, stuff pushed in.
Yeah.
No, I mean those are fun games, and I think too the fond memory I have about that in general was I think that was kind of the start of like, it's not a victimless crime, by the way, the piracy era of being able to track down any game or digital item you wanted, because why would I don't want to ask my mom or dad to buy me Duke Nukem 3D and have to show it to them and explain what's going on. I'd rather just put this on there and close it when
Yeah,
they
there's a
walk by.
number there's a number of reasons beyond not wanting to spend the money that somebody may need to buy pirate something.
Totally. Well, last thing I have down here, unless you have any specific memories, the PlayStation 1 had arrived in December of 1995 in Japan, so the hype was definitely building a little bit stateside, but it's not quite released here yet. Later in the year, too, the Nintendo 64 was released, so definitely, computer games were coming up, online was coming up, and then just kind of that next gen of games was starting to roll in.
I'll say, instead of derailing the blue tones any further, if you want to hear me talk about PlayStation 1, go check out the I think it's the Prodigy interview episode with Professor Rave, Martin James. We talk a bit about PlayStation 1 in there.
I'm going to get one quick, only because it's topical at the moment. And if you want to comment on it, you can. If not, but my son has been challenging me to unjammer Lammy 2-player matches lately. Fuck, that game is hard.
Those were kind of early. Well, I mean, I'll just say that those games, Parappa and Jammer, have a completely inscrutable idea of what a rhythm game is and should play. Like like everything that comes after understands hit the button to the beat, have a visual that shows you when to hit the button on the beat, and if you're on the beat and you do it, you're good, you're golden. Parappa the Rappa and Jammer Lammy, the visual does not quite match up to the beat. If you close your eyes and try to play to the beat, it sometimes will reward you and tell you you're doing correct. And sometimes if you just go freestyle and hit the shit out of those buttons, sometimes it's like, yeah, that was great.
Right. I'm painfully finding that out as somebody who was a pretty good Guitar Hero player for a while. Like, I'm trying to remain very disciplined, but realizing that's not the point here. It's not going to get you success necessarily.
Yeah. Those are interesting. Those are interesting games.
Yeah, it's definitely fun though. And I told him to check out Space Channel 5, and maybe he can find a Dreamcast or something like that afterwards, and if he gets into it. But then I'd have to explain Michael Jackson, and there's a whole biopic out there that just made $80 million to do that for me, so I let them handle it. Yeah. But you're right, we should get back to the Blue Tones. A little bit of album history, kind of just talking the making of and the process there. So the album itself, Expecting to Fly, was recorded at Ridge Farm Studios, which is actually one of the earliest residential recording studios in the UK. It was started in 1975 by a man named Frank Andrews, who was a former lighting tech for ABBA and the Rolling Stones. So,
imagine that. More lighting tech talk this week.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's like they're multi-talented individuals there. It was located in the village of Rusper, which is located near the Surrey and Sussex border. So for all of you UK geography nerds, you can file that in your cap. The studio was surrounded by 12 acres of land and made for a perfect retreat to lock in, write, and record. Some of the clients over the years included bands like The Smiths, Ozzy, Rush, Jethro Tull, Queen, Bad Company. So, definitely
a UK murderer's row.
Yeah, exactly. So all of the songs, except for the album opener, Talking to Clary, were recorded at Ridge Farm Studios during the summer of 1995, with that track being recorded in a later fall session. The Blue Tones' core original four were responsible for most of the music, apart from a few contributors, Caroline Lavelle on cello, Mac McElden on clavinet, and Dan Crompton on the blues harp. And each only really one track apiece, so again, it was just kind of a contributing role. Hugh Jones was the engineer on the album, and he was also responsible for some works previously by Simple Minds, Echo and the Bunnymen, The Damned, and really has quite a comprehensive list of works across the 80s, 90s, and the aughts. So again, some pretty prominent, folks here working on this. June of 1995, off of an EP release they had made, they had a single enter the UK charts at number 31, the song Are You Blue or Are You Blind? The one thing I've noticed, maybe it's just because they were young lads at the time, but they definitely take a lot of pun liberties with the word blue on some of their early songs. And, once they get to Expecting to Fly, they kind of tighten it up. But there's a few of those blue jokes, just like, oh, yes, we get it. You're the Blue Tones. Got it. Yeah. And here we go. The next one, Blue Tonic, was the first single off of the album, and that was dropped in October of 1995. So still a couple months prior to the album being released. The song made it to number 19 on the charts, and the buzz was building more and more for the group. So just kind of a little bit of, radio hype. Let's build up this album. Britpop's having a moment here. Let's see if we can have another one. Another song, Slight Return, which was very much a nod to Mr. Jimi Hendrix. Voodoo Child's Slight Return, even though it really sounds nothing like it as far as I could tell from many listens over. But that was released in February of 1996 and made it all the way to number 2 on the UK charts. But nowhere to be seen in the United States. So
I kind of understand that. If we're not buying into, I don't think we were buying into the bends at the time. And if you're not going to be able to sell that, I don't know that you're going to be able to sell us the blue tones
Yeah.
either.
I mean, yeah.
Not to, not to denigrate them, not to denigrate the blue tonics too much, because yeah, I do enjoy this album too, but yeah, I could see it being, I could see this whole album being very difficult to cross the water. I can definitely see why, like, the NME crowd and the UK got
Yeah.
into it, but yeah, like, I mean, especially when our number one song at the time is Mariah Carey and Boys to Men, and this is the post, the post Cobain moment where we're trying to find
Searching.
ourselves.
Yeah.
We're probably not going to take on something
No.
like this.
We're not. I mean, I don't know. The one thing I had thought about listening to this is that maybe this is an album that was 5 years too early. Like in the, MTV2 early aughts era where there's more exposure for artists like that and a little bit more of that indie sound, there might be a better home for them.
It does have, if it were to cruise in along with the kind of indie moment, like if somebody had handed you this along with Death Cab for Cutie and you were somebody who was into that, I could totally see them,
Or even
being
like
in.
early Coldplay, like I could, see somebody liking this style as well. It's a little bit
Yeah,
of a
there's
slightly
it's
harder
just
rocking option.
yeah, it's a little it's a little not, it's a little less confrontational than what we were still searching for at the,
Totally.
in 1996.
Totally. So yeah, it really made no impact here in the States. Probably a very large reason as to why, this is so new to us this week, 30 years later. The album debuted in the UK though at number one. They knocked off some brothers. I think it was Hanson. Was it Hanson? Oh wait, the Gallagher brothers. It knocked off Oasis, as we said earlier in the episode. Sold 82,000 copies in its first week. But yeah, at no point did the album ever crack the top 200 Billboard or any major chart stateside. Again, like this is a purely UK contained phenomenon. A very celebrated UK release. Enemy loves it. It's on this top 500 list of the all-time albums. It has since surpassed 300,000 albums sold and become certified platinum. But yeah, just this kept it home. Obviously, in the digital age, there's plenty of ways to access it, but it just never had its moment. Our guys, after release at NME, gave the album an 8 out of 10. So perfectly good review there. Yeah.
And I did want to ask you, did you ever find the actual NME review by the writer over there, John Robinson? Okay. Did you see what he had titled? Do you want to say it or do I have to say it?
I think you should say it. I originally was going to take you up on that offer you made me, but I was like, there's no way he'd think I actually guessed that. Just because it's so absurd. But
Yeah,
like,
so
brilliant.
he titled the review in 1996 of Expecting to Fly by the Blue Tones. He titled it Tone Loco.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, John Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it's not bad. It's going to stick with me for a little bit, that's for sure. I was
Yeah.
trying to think of like what would be a good, because it's a good review, what would be a good stupid pun review, and yeah, somehow that one never crossed my.
I feel like I saw one other too, but Tone Loco kind of takes up all the space in my brain.
Yeah, exactly. One love for Tone Loc out there. And Tone
Yeah,
Loc.
what is the UK? I think it was the UK enemy writer basically just. I think he was looking for any opportunity to let everybody know he knows who Tone Loc is, and he's like, I'm just gonna do it here.
Yeah, exactly. People are going to read this. They're going to forget about it in a week. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
And there's not going to be two podcast hosts 30 years from now dissecting my line. Like, what do I care? I don't even know
There's
what
not
a
gonna be
podcast is.
somebody emailing me asking to come on a enemy themed podcast to
Explain my thought process.
yeah, do a whole episode explaining why
Exactly.
why I called my review
Totally.
this this terrible pun.
So another magazine, Q Magazine, gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Sam Taylor, the reviewer in Q, wrote, and this is interesting. This is kind of telling how like big it was at the time over the UK. But again, an interesting parallel because it didn't catch on here, like what's referenced in this comment. He says, perhaps the most accomplished rock debut album since The Stone Roses in 1989. Expecting to Fly avoids the usual primitive drive of first recordings in favor of technical brilliance and adventurous songwriting, a classic rock album. So again, that comparison to The Stone Roses, another thing that people across the sea thought was bigger than curly fries, but really just never caught on here unless you're kind of, the hip kid in the record store and, reading through these magazines. So I don't know, just some interesting parallels there.
Yeah, and it is. I think one of the one of the things mentioned in that quote is they avoid the usual primitive drive of first recordings, and that's kind of true. Like this is kind of for a debut album of a band who, you know, a literal garage band. It is very yeah, it seems kind of, it's a little mature and kind of and yeah, there's a lot of there's a lot of technical stuff going on. There's a lot of like the music behind it all is I wouldn't call it prog, but I mean compared to a lot of the compared to a
Yeah.
lot of the shit that was coming out in 1996 rock wise, like they're operating on a slightly more advanced level, it seems like.
Yes. It's not just like 3 chords, formulaic on every song. It's, yeah, there's a little bit more complexity and nuance to it, which is, something I can appreciate. And
Yeah, that's the kind that may be the one thing that kind of that was kind of my hook on this album is there's really number one, there's really deft guitar work going on by Adam Devlin that I could just listen to all day long.
yeah.
Yeah.
What was I going to say there? Yeah, okay. So as far as the gear goes on this, because we're admitted gear nerds, nothing too crazy. And when you listen to it, there's not like these standout crazy effects or anything, but definitely kind of locks in that definitive jangle pop sound, as it's kind of come to be known. If you listen to like Echo and the Bunnymen or bands of that era, just kind of straight clean guitars with a little bit of reverb going on. A little bit of overdrive and maybe some tremolo. So on this one, yeah, Adam Devlin, you talked about his good guitar work. He used an Epiphone Casino, Gretsch Dual Jet, and he even had a Rickenbacker 12-string on there. For his amps, he used a combo of the Marshall's JCM 2000 for the dirty tone, and then for, the Vox AC30 for the cleans. For his effects, yeah, these are simple pre-boutique era pedals, but good ones nonetheless. Tube Screamer, the Boss Blues Driver, the Boss TR2 Tremolo, and an MXR analog chorus. The bass player Scott Morris, used a good old Fender jazz bass on the album. Nothing too crazy. This is again just kind of like good, straight ahead jangle pop rock with a little bit of flair to it. So since the album came out, there have been a few reissues over the years containing some of the B-sides, demos, and including one to celebrate the 25th anniversary. And from what I kind of read into it, Mark Morris is still kind of doing his thing, and they're living off of kind of the residuals of this album. There wasn't a huge acrimonious breakup. They just kind of faded out of the spotlight, as some bands do.
Yeah, one of the funny things I saw somebody reference was, despite this also being a UK band centered around two brothers, they never they never had any high profile fights or like between the two of them or interband. They were, despite kind of the sound of the album, they are at heart kind of troublemakers and rock and rollers. So they had that, they did have that kind of stuff going on, but like between the slightly lower profile and the fact that they weren't fighting with each other, like I guess it didn't really it didn't really become headline news or anything like that for them.
Exactly. Yeah, so I mean
Um,
that's what I've got for the making of. Any other tidbits that you found out there, or kind of
I
thoughts
will
on that?
say there was I did have a trope alert set off while looking up interviews with Mark. So Mark, in an interview with stereoboard.com regarding the B word, he says he says it's a
Bush.
double-edged sword, isn't it? Obviously, it's a very big and popular musical movement, but at the same time, I think it's quite restrictive for us in many ways. As soon as you say the word, I think people have an idea of what it's going to sound like before they hear it. And we've never considered ourselves to be anything other than just a pop band. But as soon as you say Britpop, it becomes something else.
It's
Which is a
true.
funny thing in retrospect. I mean, we'll probably someday have a whole episode on just the term and like what was up with it. But it's interesting that they felt that certain bands felt limited by that label at the time, because like the kind of bands that it's applied to are so varied. Like I couldn't tell you exactly. There's other than being British and not being Iron Maiden.
Right.
Like, what does Britpop really mean? Like, you have Pulp in there, you have Oasis in there, you have Blur in there. Like, those are three very, very different
It's
sounds.
very grunge adjacent in that sense of
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this is you're almost just putting the word now on a time frame than an actual sound.
Yeah. But it's so funny to hear him say like, "Oh, that's so limiting." And it's like,
We're
well,
not.
how limiting can it be if it's applied to both, you know, I mean, I'm sure at the time they're probably getting comparisons, but like when you listen to this album and you listen to What's the Story, Morning Glory, they like, besides both being guitar bands, like they're they couldn't be more different almost, really.
Right.
Like,
Right. I
and
mean, you
so that's
you
interesting.
you 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 place this closer to like the Bends in terms of like the overall sound than like
Yeah.
Pulp or Oasis or anything like that.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, the Bends is certainly not Britpop. Is it a British rock and roll band? Yeah. So I don't know. It's genre is a funny thing, and I can't help but laugh and think about like the conversation with Ian Williams with Battles, and it's like, don't call us math rock. What band likes being pigeonholed into a genre? It just
Yeah.
it
Nobody
sounds like
nobody does. It's the
no.
trope alert.
If I want to make this music, I'm going to make it. I don't care what you call me. But I don't know. I do kind of wonder though sometimes, in this era of, or in that era, I should say, of like marketing and trying to push movements and stuff. If basically there was ever a point where a producer, the record executive said, "No, you guys need to make it sound like this because you are Britpop," and maybe there's some resentment there, at just being told like, "This is what we're selling you guys as. This is how you're going to make it. Do this," as opposed to, "We're going to do what we want. Don't call us the B word, bitches."
I guess one final quote I wanted to read that I guess kind of ties into the last couple things we were talking about. But Mark was being asked about Oasis in Melody Maker, and he says, "quote I love reading Oasis, and I don't know who these guys are. It must be another band, another misbehaving band." But he says, "quote I love reading Oasis and Black Grape interviews and all the naughtiness they get up to. I enjoy it. But we're not that type of character. It doesn't suit the way we look. We're quite unassuming blokes. But no one has hit the nail on the head as far as we go. We're quite keen to steer it away from our personal lives. We're rock and roll. We just don't advertise it."
I guess you can respect that, but I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, you can't help but wonder too if
It does.
they embraced
It does
that, would
kind
have
of
made
match
them
the.
bigger
It does
stars.
match the
Yeah.
sound. These are.
Yeah.
These are. I mean, this is. This is in a relative sense. This is nerd music, where Oasis is. I don't know that it's. I mean, it must be. It is kind
Cool
of.
kid. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of jockey.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally.
Again, it's all relative, but yeah.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, now that we've exhausted everything in February 12th, 1996, in this plane of existence, should we jump through the multiverse?
Let's do it. What else? So, where am I here? The in the multiverse. Where's my little spiel here? We need this. In this segment of the show, we break out the old Eye of Agamotto on loan from the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange himself. The Time Stone, correct?
Yes.
Is it? The green. I know it's the green one. I
Mhm.
know Doctor Strange had it, but for once we're recording late in the night instead of early in the morning, so things are happening. So we use it to peer into the alternate universes to see what might have been if this podcast was about a different list. Perhaps say,
What do you know about the multiverse?
The multiverse. Fizz had his theories. He believed it was real and dangerous.
Well, he was right about both.
he's always right about both.
He was.
So we're doing number 290 over at Rolling Stone on their updated 2023 list of top 500 albums. Number 290 is, drumroll please, it is Outkast's Speaker Box and the Love Below, which famously we've done an episode on. So do you have any updated thoughts on Outkast's penultimate split album?
Updated, not necessarily, but yeah, I think maybe a little bit of a speaks again to the divide, you know, sometimes across the waters in musical interest, that this one's at 290, because I feel like, was it higher on the, or higher or lower on Enemy?
I think Speaker Box Love Below is, I can't remember the number, but it was
I'm gonna
higher
look it
in
up.
like, I think Stinkonia was like last or something like that.
It was like in the late 400s, yeah.
I want to say it was 500. But yeah, look that up for me. I guess the one updated thought I will throw in there is that
So it was 183 on Enemy.
the Speaker Box Love Below.
Yeah.
That sounds correct. That's where it should be. It's a very good. It's a very good album. And if you're gonna have 500 of all time, I feel very good about Speaker Box / Love Below being 180 something. I guess I'll say the one updated thought I had was I forget, but for whatever reason I was listening to Frank Ocean's Channel Orange, which was one of the last times that we had an Andre 3000 rapping feature. I forget which song, but man, he's good.
Yeah.
He's always been good. He was good back when, in the last moments where he decided he still wanted to, and God willing, someday he will once again remind us that he is.
He probably still could be if he gave a shit
He's
to do
fucking
it.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe if we were a podcast about movies, or maybe in the other weeks, we kind of were a podcast about movies this episode. So.
Right. Feels that way a little bit.
Yeah, but I don't think we'll have as strong feelings about the IMDb top 500 most rated movies. So for Rick Quinn out there, please note it is not the top rated or any kind of ordered list. This is the most rated movies from IMDb. Okay, and number 290 on that list is Kung Fu Panda. Released in 2008. Unless you want to correct me on this, I believe that is Jack Black's first real starring role as a voice actor for like a kids animated. I believe this was his debut in that kind of realm. Whereas now he's almost like primarily known as a kids film like powerhouse.
Right. First Proud at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. Just went to go see the Mario Galaxy movie for the second time today.
There you go.
The movie also features the voice work of Dustin Hoffman, Angelina Jolie, David Cross, and last but also better than everyone mentioned so far, the one and only James Hong.
Ah, yes.
Cartwright. Cartwright. I'm Cartwright.
I say Cartwright. I say, here. She say curse
She
word and
hang
hang up.
Yeah, she said curse word and hang up. Yeah.
Cartwright? Who's
That's the man.
Cartwright? Oh, Cartwright.
He also, of course, appears in Blade Runner, Big Trouble in Little China, Wayne's World 2, Everything Everywhere All at Once, Tank Girl, Bloodsport, and really, this is not even a joke. Just about every single TV show that exists since the 1960s. He's been on fucking everything. Like, go look up his filmography and go to the television portion, and it really is just basically a list of TV shows that anybody actually watched from 1960 through present.
Wow.
Pretty amazing.
I do have a correction from the news desk here.
Oh no. Did I fuck up?
No, I mean, you didn't fuck up, but
Oh, okay.
just one of our fact checkers here handed me a note that said Jack Black's first major voice acting role was actually the character Zeke in Ice Age in 2002, as well as Shark Tale, where he was the voice of Lenny in 2004. So
okay, so he had a run in.
This is definitely his big starring lead.
Yeah, but he had a ramp. He had a ramp there.
Totally.
Yeah. And now you can't go see any kind of kids movie without him. That's gotta be good money. I mean,
his credits are insane though. If you look at it over the whole course of his life.
Oh yeah, I mean,
you
can retire off of Minecraft, I'm sure.
Right. Wow, he was even in Demolition Man. That's insane.
I was about to say, yeah, he's in Demolition Man for all of about 2 seconds. He's just one of the background dirty people who live underground, along with Dennis Leary.
Yep. Did you see what his first credit is?
No.
He was a teen wearing a hat in a 1982 Atari 2600 commercial for the video game Pitfall.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's a good first credit.
I mean, not bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Anyway, welcome to the Jack Black Hour.
Perhaps if this podcast was about video games, we might be looking at the Metacritic top games of all time. And over there, number 290, and I'm interested to see if you're familiar with this. Number 290 is a game called Bayonetta. Did you play Bayonetta?
A little bit, yes.
Okay.
I'm looking at pictures of it now. I do remember this. Yep.
Yeah. So
it was Devil May Cry-ish, right?
Very much. Yes.
Yeah.
This is it's developed by a legendary studio, at least to me, called Platinum Games. I forget if I should have looked this up, but I forget if they are former Devil May Cry people, or if they were just obsessed with Devil May Cry. But yeah, they basically take that style of game and run with it, in almost everything they do. They're the studio that also made Nier Automata, a game called Vanquish. They made Ninja Gaiden 4 last year, which I'm going to need to go check out now. But the game I'm most familiar with that they made was Metal Gear Solid Revengeance.
How was that one?
So, strap in, folks. We're talking Kojima one more time on the fucking Enemy Music podcast. Hopefully people enjoy this shit, but either way, you're talking to me, you're gonna get it. So basically the story behind Metal Gear Solid Revengeance was Kojima wanted to make a action-y Metal Gear game where the side character named Raiden could run around and slice anything in the world with his sword. And he worked on it for a while, and it wasn't quite coming together, and he was like, I don't really know what I'm doing with this.
Sure.
So he basically like handed the entire concept over to these guys at Platinum Games and said like, hey, if you guys want to figure this out, like you can use the you can use the Metal Gear license and whatever, but like it's your thing. And like they said yes please and went on to make like a legendary game that is 100% like if you play that you kind of get what is going on over at Platinum Games. Like they have a very specific it's not really a sense of humor, but kind of an odd I don't know, they've got like a
style in their
weird,
own.
yeah, they've got like a weird mindset. Like if you do play Devil May Cry, like the characters in that game have like a weird like swagger and kind of,
Definitely.
there's a very it's a very it's like the concept of American cool through the prism of like Japanese culture, and it turns into like
Totally.
something weird and odd and like all its own thing. And like I think people might be most familiar with, there's a couple of memes and videos and stuff, but like the main bad guy in Metal Gear Solid Revengeance is like a US senator who is kind of Trumpy. I'm almost sure there's like a meme or something where, because, and again, Kojima predicting the future, the bad guy in that game does say like "Make America Great Again," and this is like years and years before
Oh wow.
MAGA. But yeah, like it's really funny because he's he's a U.S. senator and he's like all steroided out and he like hand to hand fights robot ninjas and shit while saying stuff like that. And being
Just
like
like in real
over,
life, yeah.
being like way over the top like American-y. So yeah, if you go ahead and look up any of the like cutscenes or stuff like that on YouTube to
Okay, I might
get a
have
sense
to.
of it.
Yeah.
It's an awesome game. It's really fun to play. It has hilariously amazing cutscenes and stuff like that. Check it out.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Bayonetta too. That was a fun one, and I mean, it has the.
Oh right, we're talking about Bayonetta.
Yeah, like you said, though, it has the American cool, through Japanese eyes, like the female.
It's very much
characters,
the next.
Yeah.
It's like the next of kin to the side-scrolling kind of beat 'em up genre, where like you are just one character who is hand to hand beating up on various bad guys. But kind of the hook of Devil May Cry and Bayonetta are they reward you for doing it in a stylish way. So like if you hit them with like every character in these games has like as many if not more moves as like a fighting game protagonist. So like they reward you for like using a huge variety of all the moves and you have a huge variety of them, but like,
combos and weapons and all kinds of
you can
stuff,
you can like switch your weapons in the middle of combos or switch from like swords to guns and like juggle people in the air and stuff like that. And like the more you do that, the better. Like there's literally a little grade in the corner of your screen that goes up, like the cooler you do all these things.
Get to S tier, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So like Bayonetta herself, kind of becomes a big deal, like protagonist for among gamers. Probably firsthand as like a sex symbol. The game is not shy at all about putting her up front as that kind of thing.
No, she's very wah.
Yeah, and also like they'll have like super moves or something where the camera like flies under her butt or something like that, and it's like, oh okay, like we're going way over the top with this. I see. Okay.
We had to work much harder for this in Tomb Raider. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It makes Tomb Raider look very, very subtle. But it's not like the character herself is shallow. Like she does have like the cool personality and like quips and stuff like that.
She's a witch, right?
Yeah. She even later joins the cast of Smash Brothers in the Wii U version of that game. So if you ever played that, you've seen her over there. And then my final multiverse visit, I went and checked out number 290 on the Fortune 500 list of companies. And number 290 over there is the apparel store, The Gap. Is the Gap still a thing? Do you go there?
It's still a thing. I think I became more of an Old Navy guy later in life.
I might have been mixing them up as I was thinking about them because I was like, is the Gap still? I wrote down, is the Gap still a cheap place to get clothes? But I don't think the Gap was ever a cheap place to get clothes. That was
No, I
that was
think
Old Navy.
yeah, I think Gap was definitely yuppie with some money clothes, and Old Navy was kind of like you still want nice clothes but don't want to pay as much.
Yeah, you want jeans that look cool, but they're probably gonna like fall apart in a year.
Right.
Yeah.
Or,
Okay.
like Old Navy, I'll get slacks at, and the same type of slacks at the Gap would cost twice as
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, my personal wardrobe kind of solidified about 10 years or so ago when I kind of figured out exactly what business casual is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I basically have like the t-shirt and jeans that I wear on the weekend, and then stuff with belts that I have to tuck in and are basically like golf shirts that I can get away with wearing
Oh, yeah.
at an office. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, now that I think about it, I don't, and I'm not saying this to sound cool, but I don't know if I've ever shopped at a Gap. I mean, I've certainly walked by plenty of them in my day, but yeah, I have to think about that.
Yeah, I don't think I did much. We did stop into one recently to get my son some stuff. I don't
Hmm.
even remember why we decided on it, but he went in there and it was like his first time in a store like that, and he was super excited about grabbing clothes and trying them on in in like the
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 rooms.
dressing room. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think anything he gets to do without us like being in there with him, he's like all about right now. So it was probably just that. But yeah, he was totally into going to the Gap and trying on some I don't know. It was he got like a very 1992 like skater type looking
Nice.
t-shirt and shorts, and I'm like, all right, sure.
I'm trying to remember. Like, no, it's interesting though, because I think '96 Gap was definitely a big thing. Gap, Eddie
Oh, yeah.
Bauer, Fubu.
Yeah.
Was that
I
like
think
a
if you're
popular one then?
Yeah, I think if your family had a little bit of money and you were looking for generic clothes, like you were going to the Gap.
Yeah. Hell
Yeah.
no, man. I went to Target and Frederick Meyerstein and maybe Nordstrom if I needed something nice, but that's about it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Mervyn's,
remember
Ross.
where I went. I think I grabbed a couple T-shirts at Hot Topic,
Yes.
to make sure everybody knew what band I was listening to last year,
Uh-huh.
and then had the same jeans for like
And
for like
yeah,
5 years or something.
Hot
yeah.
Topic. I could wear a band shirt and a South Park shirt the next day. So yeah,
There you go.
it's good to go there.
Yeah. Any last thoughts on the albums? Any specific tracks? I think both of us. I got the sense that we were like, this is a good album. I don't know if it's a great album, but
Yeah. No, that's exactly. Trying to think of this,
it's
and not to
let's-
like sound like an ass or anything, but no, I mean like I get why it was big where it was. It totally fits the sound of like a UK rock album. Like I said, I feel like with different timing, it could have been bigger over here. It is good. You know, one thing that really stuck with me that made me think good and bad was you kind of compared it to like the Bends, but Radiohead got therapy.
Yeah.
And
it's the
that
Bends
takes
where
out
they're
some of
all,
that,
like slightly more sane people.
right? And removing some of that darkness for almost a more saccharine feel at times. Like it feels generic-ish, but like I don't feel good about saying that, but at the same
Well,
time,
here's
like that.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe I can put it into word, or maybe somebody else can put it into words for us. But I found a quote from a guy named Andrew Cothern, and he's writing on a site called offyourradar.com, where they do a kind of similar thing as us, but basically they have a couple dozen like music journos or writers will
Oh,
all
okay.
get together and drop like one short analysis of a single album, and like they'll all get together and just drop like whatever, like one one small bit or like one hot take. And this guy Andrew Cothern, the one he, or at least one quote he had in his is quote, the first thing I thought of when playing the Blue Tones Expecting to Fly was that any of these songs could be playing in one of those high school coming of age movies from the mid 90s. And it's like, yeah, this is yeah, this is real soundtrack music for, like you said, you don't want to offend anybody, but it is still rock. And it's like
it's kind of like if it's like what Third Eye Blind is to 1997 soundtracks of life type thing.
Yeah. But it's very UK. It's very UK
yes,
instead.
Exactly. It's perfectly fine music. There's a couple standout moments, and there's going to be people that probably connect with this album a lot more, and it's more special to them. I think one of the big takeaways from something like Aztec Camera, when we did that album, it was one we had no connection or history with, but you find out that people do have these connections with these things, and even the things that we kind of sound maybe mundane to us can reach people in a different way. So I'm not trying to talk down about it. Well, it's just more of
and
the general.
And speaking of one of the hot takes I wrote down was I thought this album feels like a link in a chain between two albums that we've already covered, because I think it sounds very heavily inspired by Aztec Camera, especially the Highland Hard Rain that we had done the episode on. And then after this, I feel like this album is heavily inspirational to the Shins' Shoots Too Narrow. Like, to me, especially, we've said before on this podcast, we're not often like, very lyrical focused people, but this time around, like when I, there's a lot of, between all three of them, they kind of all share a lyrical sensibility that is like, it's just clever enough, and then sometimes it's not clever enough, and like I don't really love that either way. Like I will always prefer we're gonna go back, I'm gonna wave at Al Horner here and mention The Simpsons again, but the Simpsons clip where I think Homer is talking to Flanders and his brain is like, well, I don't know about you, but I'm out of here. And you can see it like leave him, and then he hits the ground.
He's like, explaining the cider to him. Yeah.
I will always prefer the Gallagher brother lyric that occurs when your brain is doing that to somebody who's like trying very hard to either be clever or impress me or say something,
poetic,
like on this album, he says, who is she to say you can't be trusted? And besides that, how does she know? Like, okay, like, I mean, I got that. It's not bad, but it's but there's a guy over here saying he's a rock and roll star and yelling it at me.
And he's supersonic and he wants a gin and tonic. So
yeah.
I'm gonna listen to him real quick.
There's she did it with a doctor on a helicopter.
Like, I mean,
like you have to turn your brain off to be able to come up with these things.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I understand that not everybody is able to, not everybody's capable of doing that. But
a lot of cup of teas for a lot of different people out there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't know, songs that jumped out. I mean, I liked The Fountainhead. That was a good song. I like the song, but then I always get pissed off thinking about Ayn Rand, so it's kind of a mixed bag.
Yeah, there you go.
And then I do like the first track on there. It's talking either to Clary or Clary, either one.
Yeah.
I thought it was a really cool song.
I thought that was kind of an interesting outlier to the album, because it's like, I mean, it's 6 minutes. I mean,
almost
very
7
ballsy
minutes
to
long,
start your album, with a song that's that long.
Mm-hmm.
The guitar work on that one is, again, I just can't get away from, and I mean it as a compliment, is that it sounds very Benzy. Like there's somebody here who definitely knows how they know how to play their guitar. They must have been playing it for a long time. They're dialing in, especially there's a lot of different clean tones through the album that I'm like, if I return to this album someday, it's going to be a lot of listening to the guitar, maybe trying to learn how to play can't be trusted, and then studying like there's a lot of clean tones on this album that are like, you know, especially I never found the equipment list, and when you read that off, I was like, oh, I've got access to, you know, half this at
Right.
least, or like things that
Right.
are
Or at least digital
similar to them.
equivalents. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, maybe I need to sit down and like figure out, you know, what he was doing here. But yeah, because there's a lot of tones that are excellent on this album.
Yeah. And I think, you know, like also working in the studio they had, the producer they had with his background, I think there was just a lot of good elements supporting this album that, you know, like you talked about, it sounds like a very mature album, you know, for a first time out. It's just, it's well put together. It's not transcendent and life changing, but it's it's good music, you know, and that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and again, like you said, like I can see the person who didn't have indie music in their life yet finding the blue tones and being like, oh shit.
Yeah, I mean, like if I was 22 in 1996 and in college or something, and this came out, and like I met a girl a week later at the show, like I'm sure I'd love this album. Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's tons of ways where this is a totally cool album. Is it in my top 500? No, probably not. But you know, it's a good listen. Good band to learn about.
I think the only other track that I had to call out is a parting gesture, where they throw on I think there's a little bit of it hiding through the rest of the album, but like right here, and again, you know, speaking of the Shins, that like this is the one track where they let their like country flag fly. Like somebody is playing a twangy guitar, they're doing some like b-benderish sounds, there's a harmonica solo.
Yes.
You
The
know, and
blues harp,
personally, I
yeah.
probably would have liked a lot more of that version of the band. You know, I think being a UK band and like doing that, you know, you're that like that's something kind of unique. I mean, I don't think a lot of the other Britpop bands, if we're
No.
gonna put them in, I don't think there was a lot of other Britpop bands who were embracing that.
No, I mean, I that's definitely a unique thing. I
Yeah,
think for this
and
this
like I
album
said,
for
like the
sure.
Shins, like again, the Shins, they had one track on that album that was the country mariachi one, and I think it was called "Gone for Good," and like, yeah, it was like there was like the same moment on this album where I'm like, oh, interesting.
I'm trying
Like
to
you guys have
reflect
that in
back
you.
on the Shins episode. James Mercer, did he live overseas for a little bit in like, his late teen years? Was that
I
part of?
can't remember.
Yeah, I feel like because like I'm trying to think like you might be very well right on the head that this is an album that you know somebody that lived over there in that time would
Yeah,
have access to and got some influence from. But
I feel like the singing and like the lyrical makeup, like yeah, I wouldn't be shocked. Um, maybe maybe you cook up a meet me in the bathroom, and I'm gonna quickly Google James Mercer and blue tones and see if anything happens.
yes, let's see what could I do? How about you know for blue tones we stick with the color blue and we do a little rhyming scheme and we do some blueberry scones instead. You know, nice proper British scone with some double cream in there and you know maybe a little bit of honey butter. Just nice mellow classic way to start the day, just with your blue tones and your blueberry scones.
Well, nothing major jumped out at me, so
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe it's just a secret thing, or maybe it's just us.
could be.
Anyway, um,
Well, have you reached that time?
I think we did, but you know, once again, let's do some business before we get to the fun. So I think there's two major bits of business we need to do. Number one, the usual one. Let's read off what we have upcoming, and then number two, after that, I think we need to decide if we're going to finally do one of our 501 episodes, which, if we're going in order, is going to be Mr. Tom Petty's solo effort.
It's funny you mentioned that because before we adjourned or before we got together for the evening, I did put some thought into all that. So I do have our new schedule with a possible way of looking at things here.
Okay, yeah, hit me.
So yeah, this is episode number 61. The Blue Tones Expecting to Fly.
Jesus.
As of right now, our plan for episode number 62 is an interview with famed rock historian and writer Greg Prado, kind of stemming from his book Alternative for the Masses. But man, the guy's got books about the Pumpkins, Primus, Faith No More, every freaking band, grunge, alternative, all the scenes and everything. So we're really looking forward to that. Hopefully, it's been something that's been kind of taking a while to put together, but hopefully we can do that this week. After that, we're back on the 500. We have a little something I like to call Sound of Silver by LCD Sound System.
Yeah, that's not one I can easily put aside.
No, we're going to be building a soapbox.
But Tom Petty does have a Tom Petty.
Yeah, exactly. So after that, we have Joni Mitchell's Blue. And then I thought after that, we would do a 501.
Okay. I can get down with that.
From there, we go into
and then we'll
Wild
have enough
Beasts.
run up. We'll have enough run up too that we can warn Kyle, like, this is when it's coming, and we're gonna want
We
you.
want, if you want to hop on with us.
We want you.
Yeah, and I would imagine somewhere in there as well, we'll have another episode of Recorded on a Podcast with better equipment. I know the next one is kind of talking about the crossover between the krautrock scene and Werner Herzog. So that'll give us a chance to do our terribly good impersonations and our commercials and our all things Herzog.
That sounds like a great episode.
Yeah, it's I'm looking forward to that one, and I even challenged him. I was like, just give me a movie list so I can have an excuse to watch some movies.
There you go.
And listen to music too. So then we go to Wild Beasts.
Just watch Protocol, or just watch Bad Lieutenant Protocol in New Orleans like 10 times.
Is that him?
I'm pretty sure that's.
Oh, cool. Okay, I will then. Yeah, that's a good movie.
Yeah.
Wild Beasts.
Speaking of which, that movie has Jacob from Lost in it.
Mark Pellegrino.
Yep, Pellegrino. He's also the brother of a pretty major UFC fighter from that time.
Oh, really?
I don't know. We're rewatching Lost right now. I find myself with a lot of open time on my hands at the moment for some reason, and we've been filling a lot of it with rewatching Lost. In fact, as we were recording this episode, I received a text from my wife that said, let me read this off. Gonna watch all the good Lost episodes without you, LOL, because we're in season 5, and season 5 is possibly the best season of TV that exists, in my opinion. There's a lot of classic series I haven't watched, but in my opinion, it's as good as it gets.
That's going to be a continued conversation on the side, because I have to go look up the episode list. But you might be onto something there. If it's the area where I'm thinking, it's not the final season, right? It's the one.
It's the second to final.
Yeah. Okay, that's when shit gets pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Donkey wheels and all kinds of things. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's have our fun.
Let's just give a quick rundown of what else we do have on the docket. So we'll do a 501. After that, we have an album called Smother by Wild Beasts, followed by Primary Colors by a band called The Horrors. And then I thought maybe we'd do Tears in Heaven Part 2, where we kind of go back and rank.
We'll go back over what we've done.
What we've done, yeah. Do a little
clip
recap
show.
and refresh, yeah.
Okay.
And then that would be followed by whatever we roll next.
Okay. It's going to be in the far future.
Yep, exactly.
Okay.
In the year 2000.
Oh yeah, it's been so long I forgot how we usually do this. Okay, so I am going to punch open the random number generator. You have the holy relic of the Indy 500 podcast in front of you, the actual NME magazine physical copy of the top 500 list.
I do
indeed. I am assuring both you and the listeners that I am searching 1 through 500, not 1 through 100, as I did one time. And I'm about to hit start. If you want to put anything under the roll there.
Let's see. Yeah,
if not, we could just vamp at each other.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Here's something interesting. I've landed on number 58. I will scroll towards it, but if you can possibly read the description without spoiler alerting, I will attempt to guess. I will attempt to guess what the album is. Yeah. Okay. Can you describe it without saying anything that?
I'm gonna
kills
have
it
to
for
do
me?
2 blanks, but yeah.
Okay.
It says, when I was growing up, I used to like skate videos because all the older kids I knew were skaters, and there was this one video where they used blank, and it just got me. So I bought blank because of that. I reckon I'd have been about 11, so I never realized it was a seminal record or anything, but I remember thinking it was great.
Okay, that's interesting and may set me off on the side.
I can give you
About,
one hint that'll really make it easy for you to guess.
Well, when I think of, I'll take that in a minute. But when I think of songs that come from skate videos, there's 2 in my life that really set me off on paths. There is a, I forget who it is. I forget who both of these are, but there's one from the girl skateboard video called Yeah Right, which is actually directed by Spike Jonze. There's an Interpol song in there that turned me into a big Interpol fan. And then there's also another skate video part that was on the Thrasher site that had Orville Peck as the song in it. And that's what sent me down that rabbit hole. So I was going to guess that it was the Interpol album, but he says that he was 11, so probably not.
Yeah.
Is it a Rolling Stones album?
No, you're closer with the Interpol one, but yeah. The hint I'll give you is, Marla, you met me at a very strange time in my life.
Oh, okay. So it's the Pixies.
Surfer Rosa, the song that I
okay.
admitted, Where Is My Mind?
Rock on. Okay. Yeah, that's that'll be that's cool. That's fun to look into.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be a good one.
Okay.
Let's see what else is around there.
Yeah, let's do you want to go towards number 1 or do you want to go towards number 500 as you're looking?
I'll climb up the list towards number 1.
Okay, I'll go down. Let's just trade off. So immediately right after, at number 59, noted as Rick Quinn's favorite Radiohead album, which is a big deal. In Rainbows.
Nice. Yes. 57. Probably going to need to call in. It could be an expert for this one. The Man Machine by Kraftwerk.
Yes.
With the robots, of course.
Number 60, Massive Attack's Blue Lines, which we've had a bit of talk about.
Talk, but haven't done, yes.
Yeah.
56, After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. That's a big boy.
I'll read off a couple, right? Well, how about these 3 in a row? 65, REM's Automatic for the People. 66, Radiohead's The Bends. And 67 is Oasis's What's the Story Morning Glory. So that'll be a interesting Gen Z / millennial crossover. Our number 7, Oasis.
Wow, that's 6/7's an Oasis album. That's
just noticed that.
Yeah. Looking through the low 50s, 51 is Fleetwood Mac's Rumors. 52, Let It Bleed by the Stones. 53, David Bowie's Station to Station. And 54, Remain in Light by Talking Heads. So again, as we've said, not really a bad album on this list, but we're really getting some good stuff there.
Yep. And then my final ones as I'm traveling towards 500, floating around a bit here. 72 is Lou Reed's Transformer. 74 is Nas Illmatic. 75, Green Day's Dookie. 76 is Daft Punk's Discovery. Yeah, my goodness. Yeah, and then of course, we're in the top 100 here, so basically everything I'm looking at is very good albums.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Exactly, rarefied air.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm very interested to dive into the Pixies.
Yeah, that'll be
Something I should,
good one.
especially because it's something I should probably know more about, but I don't. Which is, again, one of the reasons for the podcast to exist.
Hey, I'm with you on that one. Actually, I know their music, but I don't know much about them. I know that Frank Black is white and Jack. Wait, how's that?
Yeah.
Frank Black is white.
What was it? It was the Bloodhound Gang. What's the lyric?
Yes.
I'm not black like Barry White. I'm white like Frank Black is. I think it is. I don't know.
Let's see if I can find it.
That's the Roof is on Fire song. What else to?
I'm not black like Barry White. I am white like Frank Black is. There you go.
Oh, I nailed it.
Yep.
All right.
Well done.
There you go.
If that's
On
not
that
a cute.
note.
That's not a cute exit. I don't know.
We better
Any
get,
last?
we better get,
Any last
we better get the
thoughts?
fuck out of Dodge while we're on top there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Mentally.
Yeah. No kidding.
All right. Well, you got any outro music to ride off in the sunset to?
Yeah. Let me see what we got here.
Did you ever find the other outro music from the covers album?
I don't.
I think I had one. I had one as Mustaine, and I want to say there was maybe a Randy Newman.
Was there?
It's got to be in your it's got to be in your email. One sec. Let me.
Okay.
Come on. I'm gonna take one stab at this, and if I can't find it, man, we really should have gone out where we could, but yeah, that's a good one, dude.
It's a podcast and you can join it. This is the end of 500.
Well, thanks to Mr. Dillon for covering for us there.
That was Bob Dylan covering Randy Newman covering a strangled cat.
Maybe I was thinking of Dylan when I was thinking Randy Newman.
I mean, it had tones of both.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole nother episode. So
Anyway.
look forward to that.